Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Carlos Clanton, candidate running for Norfolk City Council Ward 7. And I'm really excited if you're joining me tonight for what I'm kicking off as my Clanton Connect, engaging with Norfolk residents. As you all know, during the pandemic, I created a live with Carlos Clanton to engage and connect with the residents within Norfolk to inform them about what was going on and to keep them up to date. And so really sitting with my team and really thinking about how I want to serve as a city council member, I thought what better way than to do this, than to bring forth a way of being transparent, engaging with the community. If you know me, you know that I'm all about community engagement, and to use a platform like this to share information and to let it live out there. Let individuals go back, find out what I'm talking about, what I'm doing, and so forth. So I'm excited to have you with me, even if you're watching live or you're checking out the replay. I'm excited to have you on board, and to be welcoming here and have you with me. So this show is about keeping you informed and involved in the community growth and progress. And as you note, this month, May, we're closing out really quick, y'all. But month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I wanted to share special information and insights about that. I had originally a speaker to come on, but they couldn't make it today, but it's no problem. That doesn't stop the show. So I'm going to send out a newsletter tomorrow that will have this replay as well as valuable resources about mental health awareness. And I'm wearing my green heart in honor of that. But I'm definitely starting a resource page on my website. So if you haven't been there yet, I definitely would ask you to go and follow us. That information you will find right at the bottom about. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. And you can go to my website, carlosclantonfornorfolk.com. And if you're on and you've got your phone and you want to get to the website, you can also go there right there on our QR code. You can scan it, get connected with us. This campaign is about connecting with you, connecting with the residents in Norfolk, sharing ideas, hearing about your priorities, hearing about your concerns, and bringing all that information together, and demonstrating being able to be take accountability, to listen, to share, and most importantly, take action. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and you'll see these things pop up throughout our live tonight. But I'm not going to hold you long. We're just going to hop right into some things here. Yep, going to hop into some things here. So look, I am running. I mean, that's one of the things I want to get into, why I'm running. So welcome everybody. We now have a couple of days to go, counting down to election day. But June 18th is the official deadline. That's the day that all candidates who are qualified to be on the ballot, that's the time that they need to be qualified by. And so, like I mentioned, this is mental health. It does matter. Each of us, I mean, you either have someone in your family or you know someone, a coworker or someone in your church or congregation who may be experiencing mental health. And so in this month, definitely with so many things that are going on and working and serving our public schools, I know about the challenges. I hear about it each and every day, about the trauma, the things that our children are experiencing coming out of COVID and just in general with mobile devices and so forth. So you're going to find a great resource page if you're a parent, grandparent, or community member, where you can go in and get that information and to be able to share. So look, like as I was saying, why am I running? Well, it's simple. I want to serve. And when I talk about serve, it's not service of a title or fame. Anybody knows me, I'm not for all that. I would be just as happy sometimes being behind the scenes and getting work done. But the theme of my campaign is very simple: this: shaped by service, committed to community. And my campaign's heartbeat is about service, community, and moving our city forward. Was elected to the Norfolk City School Board in 2018 in Ward 3. And I was reelected in 2022 to serve the citizens of Norfolk as their Ward 3 representative. When this opportunity presented itself, to me, it left a void. And being able to have someone who has the experience, the skill set, and many of those experiences I've been able to uphold here on the school board, but also being a national leader and a local leader, all the things that have provided me experiences, as well as being the director of the Chamber of Commerce in our Norfolk division. made history at 24 and becoming the first African American in our city to lead the third oldest local chamber in the country. And so getting a very different perspective and being able to move things forward. And people will tell you who served on the chamber board. The chamber board at the time when I came on wasn't very diverse. But by the time that I left, working with my board members there, we were able to have a chamber board in Norfolk that reflected the city. And that's what I'm about, looking at what the issues, the challenges are, working with others to come up with ideas, to come up with a plan and a strategy, and to execute. So I'm really excited about that. And so if you're wondering what Super Ward 7 looks like, I wanted to share that with you. It's kind of weird, but Super Ward 7 is a large swath of our city. It goes all the way down to the southern half of our city, where Campus Stella Berkeley, going up through our eastern part, through our Easton itself, Military Circle, then coming back around, as you can see up there, just around to the airport. And then it takes a beeline all the way over through Titustown into the naval base. And then it comes back down, swoops through Park Place, Lambert's Point, and then it comes back down through the eastern portion of what I consider downtown of St. Paul's, where we now have so much growth and development going down there, and comes back around. So it's a very large piece of land. And so I wanted to be able, if you weren't quite sure, and you can actually go to my website and still see that map as well. But that's what the ward looks like. So why am I running? I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but honestly, it gets down to this. This is a picture of my mom, myself, my brother, and my sister. My mother was a single parent. She had me when she just turned 19. 18. And my mother had me, she decided to have me. And she did not graduate high school in a traditional manner. But my mother was one of the strongest people that I knew. It wasn't perfect, but my mother was a single mom who instilled in us hard work. I had my grandparents, my church members and family who really instilled in me a desire and a heart for service. And so I wanted to share that picture there because this is actually, and I shared this in one of my throwbacks, but my mom had just completed her nursing program with STOP. It was a program that they had there. And I actually worked for STOP as their vice president of workforce development and advancement, and was able to see this program called Full Circle, because I'm also a product of Head Start. So I'm a firm believer in early childhood education and making sure that children get what they need. But this is an example when we invest in people. People have an opportunity to move forward. I'm not a firm believer in the respect of handouts, but I am definitely looking at how do we give people a leg up? How can we remove barriers? How can we put forth equity to support individuals so that they can be the very best that they can be? And so I wanted to share that because that really is the heart of it. My mother passed away in 2017. And one of the last messages and conversations that I had with my mom really was about, my mother told me, she says, go do it. And I just kind of looked at her and she was like, go do it. And I knew what that meant. My mother knew that my heart had always been about service. African American Today actually wrote an article and it named me one of Hampton Roads top 30 under 40, top 20 under 30 African American leaders. And that article was about my desire to serve my city as a member of the Norfolk City Council. And it was a little different back during that time, but going through and learning a lot more, my passion is still there to serve and to make a difference. And so I just wanted to share that little tidbit about me and why I'm running. But look, experience matters in this race. Experience matters as to who's going to be serving and representing. And so you can find all this detailed information on my website. But I bring a wealth of experience. I'm currently the executive director of the Friends of the Portsmouth Juvenile Court. I am working now in working with juveniles who have either made a mistake or we're working on diversion to ensure that they don't make mistakes and that they can see the full potential of their lives. I granted myself that I tell people all the time that I should have been a statistic. I should have been either 6 feet in the ground or behind bars. But because of the investments of my teachers, because of the investment of my community, my church family, who poured into me and saw great potential, they helped to steer me in the right direction. And I latched on to opportunities. And these are some of the things that you'll hear about me talk about, making sure rec centers are open and that we have summer camps and that we have opportunities for kids. I can guarantee you when you invest in our future, which are our young people, and you put the true full force of investment in them and let them see opportunities, they'll never stray away from that. And if you put a caring adult to let them know that they care about their whereabouts and they want anything else other than they want them to succeed, I can guarantee you that that young person will never stray away and that they'll remember the things that you pour into them. So I've done a lot of things there. I've worked in community action, human services, worked at the chamber. So I've served as the voice and the face of the business community. Did that for about 4 years there. I've also served as the national president of the National Urban League Young Professionals. I was a national civil rights leader. Many of you may have known about the opportunity in 2016. I was a guest of President Obama at the White House, where I had an opportunity to sit with multi-generational civil rights leaders, and an opportunity to sit across the table with John Lewis, and 2 seats down from me with C.T. Vivian, and so many others, Ben Crump and Loretta Lynch, the first African-American female to serve as our Attorney General. This was an opportunity that honestly I sat back in awe. A kid from Park Place in Lambert's Point, to be sitting here, it totally changed my life in the respect with the first African-American president. But I've never forgotten where I've come from. I've never forgotten about my home. I love Norfolk. Anybody knows I love Virginia. And I've been to all but 2 of the 50 states across this country. But I'll tell you, there's no place like home. But I'm committed to ensuring that our home is better. How can we make Norfolk better? How can we help our communities and their residents here see the full potential of what it can be here living in this great, fine city? So some of these things that I'm sharing in here are a vision, and you could have gone to my website, and I'm not going to read this stuff. I'm definitely going to encourage you to go to the site and check it out. But the collective vision really looks about empowering our community. What things can we do to offer our community? And there are a lot of things that I've seen and I've read that our city is doing right now to support. And I want to continue those things and also make a commitment to continue to look for new opportunities to provide more equity throughout our city, more training opportunities to support our families and our communities, and individuals to say, hey, and I'm a firm believer in this, that there are many roads to education and scholarship, and that everything isn't just about going to a 2 or 4 year institution, but there are trades, there's certifications. And so you'll consistently hear me talk about that, but also moving the needle to how we can be able to support all our individuals, and to support our young people and some of our seniors who want a second chance, or a second act. The other thing is enhancing accessibility and inclusion. Being an individual, just like you're seeing with this live here. If I'm your council member, I'm going to look at doing this on a monthly basis, not only being out at civic leagues, but bringing individuals on. This is my first one here, but next month I'm going to be focused on public safety, and bringing some subject matter experts on with me so we can talk about this. But I also want to raise and elevate some of the great things that are happening in our community and some of the great success stories that are happening and activities. When I hear people tell me there's nothing to do in Hampton Roads, I'm like, you aren't looking, because there's so many things that are going on. But then there's so many different organizations as well. And so I'm very much about collaboration and how we can work together and make sure that people have access to the information. Commitment to accountability. That's one thing that I've said here in this respect. For anybody who knows, I serve on the school board. I send out twice a year a report on what are the things that I'm working on, what the status is, and where we're going. And I'll talk about an area later about accountability in that respect, that when we stick to the plan, this is what the plan is. I'm not an emotional leader. I do my homework, I do my facts, I research. And one thing about me, whether or not I agree with you or not, I will sit down and I will listen. I learned as a student of leadership that I don't know everything, and that I always seek out individuals who have a different perspective. And I'm not an individual who is focused on being disagreeable. I mean, I always agree, but I will always try to find out, well, what is something that I can find that we do agree and how we can continue to work with. And as I've said, and I continue this message across with some of the community, civic leagues and others that I've spoken with, I'm not about drawing a line in the sand and not being able to work with others. That I may not agree with you today, or you may not agree with me today, but that doesn't mean that we can't pick up tomorrow and work on a new activity. We have to be, and after 6 years of serving in office, I have grown thick skin and more, and I don't take things personally. I've learned that people are people just like myself, and we all are passionate about things. And so with that passion, how can we move that passion into progress and move it into action? And that's one of the things I'm really, really, really focused on. Restoring trust through integrity. I commit to the citizens of Norfolk to represent them in a way that they would be pleased. In a way that You will see that I would do things upright and be able to be forthcoming with you in the respect that I'm not going to just say what you want to hear me say, but that I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to tell you really what it is, but and encourage you to work with me and me to work with you to try to figure out, okay, we only have a finite amount of money, but how can we work together? Or how can we put this in a 2 or 3 year plan and not realize that we can't do everything? Trust me, if I had a magic wand to meet every need in the city, I would do it. But how do we prioritize those things and how do we work together and to not feel as though someone's been left out or that you're not being told the truth? And so many times, there's so much hurt that's out there. I want to be a leader that supports communication, that more supports collaboration and building relationship. And so, like I said, I'm going to be at your civic league meetings. I'm going to have talks like this in office hours and going out, and I want to be there because if I'm stepping up because I want to serve, and it's not to be doing it haphazardly, but doing it in a way that, again, you would be proud to say that I'm your council member. So I wanted to get into this next item here, which is really looking at my platform. And so I wanted to share this information with you. The platform and the priorities in this respect. I am doing a survey and I'm going to share that information a little bit with you all. I would like for you to definitely go and look at that. And to take a part in the survey. This right now is just based off really what I've gotten, which seems like an overwhelming kind of in these areas that citizens have said that they support. So investing in our people. I'm committed to empowering every resident in our city. That's why I'm running for office. Growing up in Norfolk and really being a product of our public schools, I've always been passionate about our community. And my commitment to transparency, engagement, and having community-driven progress really is the foundation of my campaign. And so my platform also focuses on some key areas like enhancing public safety, boosting economic development, and ensuring community health. So really working together, I'm about creating a nurturing environment that encourages the community to come together so that we can be so that everyone really has a fair chance of moving forward. So one of those things in there is investing in our people. I'm committed to empowering every Norfolk resident through improved education, healthcare, and job opportunities to ensure that our community thrives. And so when I talk about that investing in people, that's investing in public schools. One of the heartening things that I've said here, and a lot of people don't understand, is that we've got over $500 million in unfunded capital improvement projects. But we also realize that the population of our students has also been shrinking. So we have an overcapacity in buildings. So the school board is working that I currently serve on, and we'll be doing community engagement along with our consultants so that we can have a plan by December on which particular schools that we will be potentially looking at renovation, consolidation, and or closure. But also healthcare. One of the things that coming out of the pandemic in 2021 that I had an opportunity working with Councilwoman Johnson, went to her with this idea about the Community Connect. I realized working in human services would stop that so many people weren't taking care of themselves and the basic needs. And that's because out of fear of COVID. Basic things like blood pressure, getting an eye exam and mammograms. And so making sure that we have access to healthcare so that our citizens are healthy so that they can go to work. And then also working with economic development, working with our workforce development and other training partners here to ensure that we have opportunities for our workforce. We know that our largest employer is the naval base. Followed behind the naval base is Norfolk Public Schools. But there's so many other things, and I'll talk about a little bit later, that are in the works there that we can diversify. I go to the state of the region all the time, and one of the things that talk about is that Hampton Roads needs to diversify its economic base, how we provide jobs and opportunities. So the other one is about reimagining public safety. Working in juvenile justice right now, it's one of the things, and also working in civil rights with the National Urban League. Public safety has been a major focal point of looking at everything from George Floyd and just so many other things that really spiraled into a defund the police and a lot of other things, and really put tension between policing and our community engagement there. So we're really looking at an opportunity to pledge to reimagine public safety in Norfolk, and that's really by strengthening community policing relations for a safer and more respectful environment for all. And I'm really committed to doing that. The other item that I'm looking at is about something that has come up several times, and that is about renewing our commitment in neighborhoods. And that's really doing the basics things of community services, making sure that the city ensures that we are providing services at stellar levels, but then also that we are making sure that we're taking the money that we are generating from downtown and others, and we're putting it back into our communities, that we're reinvesting in rec centers, and we're reinvesting into libraries and the arts. And Norfolk has done a great job at that, but how do we continue to do that? And that's one of the things that I'm committed to. I promise to renew our focus on neighborhoods. And that's really by enhancing city services and revitalizing our community spaces, parks. We have some beautiful, beautiful places here in Norfolk. One of the other items with my priorities that I've been hearing about and that I'm championing here is reducing the tax burden. And in that, I'm exploring innovative ways to generate revenue and smart investments to reduce the tax burden for Norfolk's, for our residents here within the city. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier, but I now sit on the Visit Norfolk board. And so a new space for us is tourism. And we saw that within, unfortunately, with the collapse of the bridge down there and closure of the port in Baltimore, several different cruise ships came into Hampton Roads. There's economic opportunity there within tourism. And now, within a couple months, we'll be able to have home ported here a new cruise ship with Carnival Cruise Lines. And so tourism is a new opportunity. How can we, like I told you, I've traveled across this country. And trust me, you go to certain cities of New Orleans and a lot of these places where they have additional taxes, bed tax. We actually have one of those. There's a $1 bed tax here in Norfolk. But how do we utilize those fees so that we can reduce the tax burden, real estate tax burden, and tax burden on the actual residents in the city? So being creative, looking for innovative ways of investment to generate new dollars that can lower the tax burden across the board for the residents who actually live here. I'm definitely looking for new opportunities for that one. But one item that is really coming up, and I think that no one's any stranger to that, and that's making housing affordable in our city. Look, I'm focused on addressing Norfolk's housing challenges. We know that our city is about 97% fully developed, but by doing that, we're ensuring everyone has access to affordable and safe housing. And we realize that there's housing instability. I often recall when I was in college, and I was just back when I got in my first apartment in 2000, I could get a 1-bedroom apartment. It was right there at Ward's Corner for $500. That's unheard of right now. Most people are looking at the average starting price of a 1 or 2 bedroom at $1,600 to $1,800 or more. But when the median income hasn't increased and we aren't increasing the actual salaries of individuals, almost 60% of their take-home pay is going towards housing. And that just makes it very difficult to be able to do anything, especially if you're paying off student loans and so many other things. So I'm really looking at how do we work with our developers? How do we work with the city, our staff, and working to find innovative ways for development, innovative ways of looking for new housing. I've read the plans. And one of the things about with Norfolk, we either have single dwelling homes or we have some box apartments, but we don't really have the housing in the middle, and some duplexes and other things. And so when we start looking at the demographics that will potentially move into our community, we have to also look and invest and look at the opportunities to create new housing structures for them, where individuals may want a comfortable living dwelling place because they don't go to an office, but they're a virtual worker. And that's one of the things when I was down in Florida, I was seeing that there were a lot of people who were migrating. So how can we capture some of that and capture some of those opportunities? So definitely, but also looking at, and I'll talk about it, about housing trust funds and some of these other things that I've looked at with the Mayor's Commission on equity within our city, and also looking at the Wealth Norfolk project. And I'm attending their report out and actually studying and reading their items that they put forth from suggestions. I think there's about 5 of them. But the other thing is about realizing our economic potential. And I kind of talked about that a little bit. But I'm dedicated to really unlocking economic potential. And that's really looking at fostering a climate really for local businesses, innovative new enterprises, and entrepreneurs. Can we become a hub that allows innovation? We've been doing that, but can we do more? And so there's an opportunity for us, even though we're a landlocked city, but there's opportunity to be creative and to also look at how we can pull in some new industries into the area. And I think our economic development director and our city's done a really good job at that. But how can we do more? And I'm committed to looking at that and also to supporting those areas. The other thing here is resilience, and I don't think anybody in our city is unaware of this particular item. Resiliency and flooding. Look, I'm committed to enhancing resilience against flooding and climate changes and protecting our city's future. I know that the Army Corps of Engineers have come in and provided a plan. I know that our city has been working and advocating both at the federal and the state level for dollars. I know that we were looking for almost $75 million, but there is going to be a new series of levees and dams throughout our city and a project that's going to take us over the next 10 to 15 years to complete. But these areas are important because if we don't get this under control, a lot of the assets and a lot of the things that we have here are at danger. And so I'm excited to see that that's happening, but I'm also excited to learn that the Army Corps of Engineers is doing a reassessment and reevaluation of its plans for the levee system downtown, which really left out pretty much all of the South Side, left out Berkeley and the Campostella. So I'm happy to hear that the Army Corps of Engineers is reassessing that and finding out ways that they can also include those areas into a potential levee system. So I definitely will be looking for those areas and what that will come back. So look, what are some of your priorities? And like I mentioned earlier, I do have currently a survey. I mean, there's a QR code that's there. You can go online and check out the survey. You can actually go to my website, and I'm going to bring that up here in just a second. But you can go to my website and you can actually go ahead and you can go to the website, take the QR code there, or go to the website, Carlos Clanton for Norfolk.com, and you can actually participate there. But I really want to hear you. If there's an open section in there where you can actually put some of your thoughts and suggestions in there, and I look for you to definitely bring that information back and to help support that. So really looking at some additional updates here in the respect of some things that are coming up. I am looking forward to continue to engage with you all. And so, look, I've got some exciting campaign events that are coming up. Today, I'm doing the live. In this live, what we're planning here is I'll have guests and some others that'll be here. Well, actually, some of the individuals who are endorsing me, we'll be excited to announce those. Those individuals will be coming on as well, and we'll be talking about various different items. And individuals from across the country. I have a large network, having served in a national role. I'm able to go in and tap into some innovative and great things that are happening in other places, and also to assess, hey, is that something that I can bring back home? Is that something that we can be innovative and push the envelope and to be innovative in looking at that? So here's some of the highlights that we've got coming on. I've got a community conversation that's taking place tomorrow at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, and it's going to be at their youth center, and that's at 7 p.m. And so you can actually, again, I've got information. Let me just, it's down here. You can go and participate in that event. You can register. If you'd like, you can actually do your QR code to that link right there, and that'll take you directly to the registration page. But if you want to see all of the events that are coming up and stay connected, you can click on that QR code, and that QR code will take you again to my website and to the events page. There are going to be several events. There are going to be some meetups, some meet and greets. There, I'm looking forward to engaging with a lot of different individuals throughout the city and demographics, the art community and faith-based, and so many, because I want to hear your priorities, your concerns, your suggestions, and ideas as we move forward. That this just isn't a campaign activity. This is what you can expect from me as your council member, in the respect that I will be engaging and will work with you. The other thing that we're looking for is volunteers. If you would like to sign up and be a volunteer with the campaign, you can go to this QR code. And I'll be dropping all this information also into the chat, the live chat with you all. And you can actually go ahead and, if you visit the website, I'm actually putting that in the live chat for you right now. Yeah, just drop that for everyone there. And also, when we get to, I'm going to have a Q&A. So if you're on and you want to drop some questions there, you definitely have an opportunity to provide that information for me as well. But look, we are moving along. Like I told everybody knows me, I like to be on time. But there's some information there. And then there's another thing too. And that is you can donate to the campaign. And if you'd like to be a donor or to invest in the campaign, you can do that. The QR codes are there listed. If you want to help us continue to engage and to reach every resident, my goal, my team knows that I want to touch every resident in Super Ward 7. I want, whether or not they support me or not, but I want them to make sure they know about what I stand for and what I'm advocating for, and how I want to ensure that their voice is heard and that I hear them. And not just during a campaign period, but that after the election is all said and done, that I'm there to be their representative. So look, your involvement is crucial to our success. And so I encourage you to go to the website. You can also sign up for our e-newsletter. You can stay up to date on all our events, and just know that together we really can make a difference in the community. And that's one of the things that I'm definitely focused on moving forward with. And so one of the items I want to do now, I will say in this respect that last Wednesday, I was out of town. For those who do know me, know that I sing with the Virginia Opera Company, and it's been on my calendar for about 3 months for me to be part of a historical moment with a new production, workshopping it and doing the live recording for Loving versus Virginia, which was written by Damian Jeter, who a graduate of Old Dominion, African-American composer who is from the Richmond area. And to be able to perform this. So I was in rehearsals Wednesday, dress rehearsal on Thursday, and actually performed this on Friday and recorded it live. And so unfortunately, when I received the notification about 2 weeks earlier, this was just on the calendar and I couldn't get it moved. And so what I've decided to do for this evening, because I felt as though my team went back, we went through and actually got all the questions that were asked, is that I want to be able to address those things. I want to be able to address the questions that were shared, and to give you what my perspective and what my response would have been. So I hope somebody will find some value in that and to hear what I have to say about it. So the first question that was presented that evening was about education. And so the moderator asked the question, says, some of the poorest underperforming schools are in Ward 7. What is your plan for improvement? And I can just tell you, education is the cornerstone of a thriving community. And to address underperformance in our Ward 7 schools, I propose really, and what I have been supporting within our budget is a multifaceted approach. First, we need to invest in our teachers' training and development to ensure that our educators have the skills and the resources they need. And we're doing that. And I'm happy to say that we will pass the council has passed the budget. We will pass the final budget. We made a $13.8 million investment in teacher pay in Norfolk Public Schools. And we have closed the compression gap. And that's not just for our teachers, that's across the board for all of our staff members. Second, I'm going to advocate for increased funding to improve school facilities and provide up-to-date learning materials, environment. So I talked about that a little bit earlier about CIP. I look at it in two different ways. Yes, we need new investment and capital improvement for our buildings. And the average age of Norfolk Public Schools is anywhere from 50 to 60 years old. And so we were able to get a bump in that through COVID ESSER dollars, but it's not enough. Our consultant has told us, and I had him repeat it twice, there's $500 million in unfunded mandates. But also we realize that we need to close some buildings. We don't have the capacity, and we have buildings that really are being underutilized. And so how can we identify appropriately which buildings need to be consolidated, or which buildings need to be closed, or which buildings need brand new rebuilds. And so we'll have a report for that. The plan is to have that in December, and to be able to work with council. And that's one of the things, and I stress that, to work. As a member of council, having served on the school board, I want to continue to build that bridge of understanding and building relationship. The school board is responsible for developing a plan. And but ultimately it's city council who's going to fund that. And so we've got to be on the same page. We've got to be working together for the best interests of our kids. It's not just the school board deals with that and the city does with that, but really we are, I see it as a collaborative team, everybody playing their position, so that we can do what's in the best interest and get the goal through there, and that's making sure that we've got student success. So I plan to strengthen community partnerships, and that's really supporting, involving parents, local businesses, nonprofits to support our schools, and I'll continue to champion that along with the schools. And together we really can create a nurturing environment that encourages academic excellence and prepares students for the future. We know that the state is changing how we do accreditation, but I really need to stress, and I'll continue to be a champion for public education, quality public education, that we've got to stand behind our kids. The community really has to become a village in this process, being reading buddies, being tutors to support that. And so you'll definitely see that moving forward, and I'll continue that, even whether serving on the city council. I will be a strong advocate for public education in our city. So the next question was on the economy. And the question was, if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put the city in a firmer financial footing? And so I really have to just kind of start off and say, honestly, our city is we've got a AAA bond rating, which is good. That's really good. However, the city is approaching its debt limit. And so there needs to really be a discussion around what are we going to prioritize? And there's that fine balance between investing in things that will become revenue generators, well as also investing in some things that are for the good of the public. And I'll give you a perfect example. So we invest in a new strip mall. Well, there's going to be tax base off of that. There'll be money that will be able to generate, that will be able to come back and support other actions and functions within the city, as opposed to building a brand new school, which is a non-taxable entity. It's great. It's a great investment, but it's that balance. And so we've got to find that balance to be able to generate without raising taxes on citizens. And that's one of the things that I'm definitely looking at. How do we reduce the tax burden and find innovative new ways and not increase the tax burden? So look, my academic plan really focuses on sustainable growth and fiscal responsibility. First, I'll really prioritize attracting and retaining businesses by creating an attractive environment for investment. I think that we do a great job at that, and how do we continue to move forward? And that really includes streamlined regulations, licensing, incentives for small businesses and entrepreneurs to move here. Second, I'm going to look at advocating for diversity, diversifying our economic base, supporting sectors like technology, tourism, and green energy to create new jobs and new revenue streams. And third, we'll ensure prudent budget management, reducing unnecessary expenditures and improving efficiency within our city's operations. And we got to maximize the way that we use our taxpayer dollars. And I think that the city has done some great things in allowing citizens to kind of see, there's only a finite amount of money, but we've got to prioritize. And I want to be able to work with communities to say, you may want this particular amenity within your community, but let's see, it may need to be on a 3-year track, because we've just got to make sure that we get all the revenue in place for that. But being transparent with folks, and not, I'm not here to gaslight folks and say, hey, we're going to do these things, and then we don't do it. So how do we continue to move forward in that? The other question that came in there was about housing. And so the question said, do you support funding housing trust fund? And if so, what group or demographic would the money go to? And I will say that, like I said, I had an opportunity to attend the Norfolk Wealth Project. And I looked at their information there, and they had recommendations. I also looked at the Mayor's Commission. And so really in that, I just have to say, yes, I strongly support funding the Housing Trust Fund, and that this fund really is essential to addressing housing accountability, ensuring that all our residents have access to safe and affordable housing. These funds also are allocated to support low-income families, seniors, and individuals facing homelessness. And so by focusing on these vulnerable groups, we can provide stable housing solutions and reduce the homelessness and create a more inclusive and supportive community for everyone. And working in human services, working with STOP, I understand that if you're facing housing insecurity or you're experiencing trauma with that expect not knowing that there's a roof over your head or you can put food on the table or that you're in good health so that you can go to work and have a viable job, we cannot expect for you to be fully engaged as a citizen. And so when we move some of these barriers out, it's not about holding folks unaccountable, but it's really about creating opportunities. And I think when we're looking at just to be honest, when I was looking at some of the seniors, when you were working on your retirement and working on some of the things that were even 10, 15 years ago, now some of the things that you're experiencing and how high they are, rent and other things, those insecurities can be insurmountable. And I talked about that. In some cases, people are spending 60% of their take-home pay is going towards housing. So working with that, but also working with our developers. I really want to create a roundtable around that about developers who are coming into the city, working with the economic and other development to find out how can we create innovative new housing opportunities, even in the opportunity of looking at where even faith-based groups who have land, being able to maybe loosen up some of the regulations so that they can build affordable housing on some of the property that they may own. We've got to think outside the box so that we can get to the real issue and supporting people and making it so that if you're working in Norfolk and you want to live in Norfolk, that we create that opportunity so you can afford to do so. The other item that came in their next section was about development. And so that particular question that they shared was, what are some of your thoughts and ideas on renovating Military Circle Mall Complex? And so we've all heard about that. The city had some plans and now we're back kind of to the drawing board. So look, Military Circle Mall really presents a unique opportunity for revitalization and economic development for the city. I really envision transforming it into some type of mixed use development that includes retail, office spaces, maybe even some residential units and green space. And this redevelopment prioritizes sustainability and community engagement, ensuring that new complex meets the needs of all our residents while attracting businesses and visitors. And I'm open even, if that means some type of regional opportunity to bring some regional sporting facility, that could possibly be there as well. I think it's centralized, it's right off the interstate. There's a lot of opportunity. And just today, I was listening to the City Council's work session from last week, and they were talking about, this week, talking about a new collaboration and that this old thinking that there is not regionalism and that the cities and economic development teams are not working together, that really is an old thing in the past. So look, additionally, I want to look at incorporating community spaces and amenities that are going to really create a vibrant hub that benefits the entire city. I know that there was a survey that was done on some of our millennials and Gen Zs, and what are some of the things that will move them in here? And there were three things that came out of that. One was about salary and being able to afford to live and make it a competitive wage. The other thing was about the vibrancy within a community and about job opportunities. And so you look at those things. If we're looking at the future and the vibrancy of Norfolk moving forward, we've got to keep those things in mind when we look at all the different initiatives that we'll put forth. The next area that they brought was about crime and public safety. And so that question was, crime has dropped since the end of 2023. How will you continue on this trend, and what are your plans regarding violence, particularly as it pertains to our youth? Now, this is a space that I'm very familiar with because I'm working in juvenile justice. It's kind of been a full circle moment for me. Taking a good water here. Full circle moment. Working in education, but now being on the juvenile domestic relations courts in Portsmouth and working with juvenile justice. So look, maintaining and further reducing crime rates really requires a comprehensive approach. I'm on my way. I'm a part of a statewide think tank around community violence intervention, working with community nonprofits and along with our government And I'm actually going to be attending next month the Gabby Giffords Community Violence Intervention Conference because I want to see what innovative things that others are doing across the country and how we might be able to incorporate those things here in Norfolk and with our partners and other city partners across the area. So look, I'm going to continue to support our community policing initiatives and really to build trust with law enforcement and the community. We got to build that. I see it far too often. I don't know if you looked at the news today where the Virginia Beach Police chief was saying, essentially, we can't solve this case because every person that we've spoken to has told us false information. And so we've got to build a relationship where people feel comfortable being able to share information with the police so that they can actually get to the heart of a matter and be able to solve some of these crimes, some of these most heinous crimes in our community. So look, for youth violence, I'm going to expand. I've got a program in Portsmouth that we're using, Turnt, which is really turning music to a nurturing theme. And it's a life skills program and it provides a positive outlet and mentorships for youth. Additionally, investing in after school programs, job training and mental health services will address really a lot of root causes of violence and offer our youth a brighter future. And so I'm really committed to figuring out and I've got an upcoming meeting with the chief to share ideas. I've been really involved in this space, and there are a lot of great things that are happening, a lot of great organizations. In Norfolk, actually has a collaboration that's bringing all of those together. I attended that conference about a month ago, bringing all these one-offs. So what you're doing in your community, you can't do it all, but how can you partner with another organization to support? At the end of the day, we want to support all our kids. And we want to make sure that our youth have an opportunity to begin to live really full lives. And so I'm committed to that, committing to identify funding and revenue. There are a lot of grants from the Department of Justice and through the state. And I know that our city has been working very active to identify those funds so that we can collaborate and work together. And the last item I had down there wasn't the last item, but the question was about flooding. And again, I mentioned this as one of my priorities there. And the question was, what are your plans in regards to flooding, the impact it has on businesses and housing? And again, look, flooding is a critical issue that really affects our economy and the quality of life. I know we all drive down the street, and I was out of town this weekend on the holiday weekend, but however, I was getting the updates and I saw where literally, I don't know how long it rained, but it was enough rain that it flooded. Downtown, it flooded a lot of our underpasses. And for us, it's just commonplace. But the city does have a plan. We're working with our state, federal partners so that we can identify the funding so that we can move forward with that plan. But look, I support investing in robust infrastructure improvements. That's what the city's plan, resiliency plan calls for. That's enhanced flood resiliency, and that's such as upgrading our drainage systems and implementing green infrastructure solutions like permeable pavements and rain gardens. I'm also going to work with the state and federal, like I mentioned, agencies to secure funding for large-scale flood mitigation. I'll continue. I know we were seeking $75 million, and we didn't get that exactly this year, but we'll continue to go forward. We'll continue to move forward, and I know that the city is preparing to move into their first phase of that. But supporting these types of initiatives also promotes climate resilience, and so that's really going to protect our businesses, homes from increasing, threat with floods. So I'm definitely committed to that. And committed to finding innovative, and Norfolk has been the leader in that. And so, I applaud, kudos to our city and the staff who've been working with that. I had an opportunity to go around to some of the community activations and take part in that. The last question that came out of that one was about politics, and it said, how will you work alongside your fellow council members from wards 3 and 4, as well as your state and federal representatives? And I'll just say this, collaboration, open communication is just effective in governance. Being able to pick up the phone, being able to build relationship and call, and anybody can tell you that I do just that. I spent just as much time in Richmond this year as well as on the federal level, serving on the school board, advocating for funding. It looks like Norfolk Public Schools was going to have almost a $30 million budget shortfall from state funding. But I applaud the efforts of our state delegation and and applaud the efforts of Senator Lucas and Senator Angela Williams Graves and others who advocated, Benita Anthony and Phil Hernandez, who advocated for public education, and making sure that we got those effective fundings. And I support, and I'd say thank you to council. This is probably one of the most robust budgets, and I've said this, and I will give credit where credit is due. I appreciate the increases in funding to public education. However, we need more. We need to find new innovative ways, and again, working together to figure out how we can deal with some of these capital improvement things. So I'm going to prioritize like regular meetings and joint initiatives with my fellow council members. Somebody had asked me, would I be willing to continue on with Engage Norfolk and others? And I think that all those things, I came up with Community Connect. Councilwoman Johnson still doing her version of that to this day. But I think that being in a Super Ward 7 seat, I touch so many different wards. It's not just Ward 3 and 4. There's Ward 1 and there's Ward 2. And there's actually a portion of Ward 5, I think, in Super Ward 7. So it's not just Ward 3 and 4. It's working as a team. And that's one of the things. I'm a team player. I may not always agree, but I'm agreed to be not disagreeable. And let's find ways that we can focus on the issues, being a team player, and doing what's in the best interest for the individuals who have allowed us and asked us to be elected there. So one of the things, and again, like I said, I also work with our federal and our state representatives. And again, I'm just going to continue to advocate for our city's needs and work together, securing funding and also looking at policy that supports projects that support Norfolk. And like I said, fostering a spirit of teamwork for our community, because that's really the way that we continue to move forward. So I'm looking at time here, and I want it to definitely not be more than an hour here. But what I will say here is that I'm going to begin to transition out of it. There was some of the questions. There were some questions from the community. I'll address those questions. I'll do them in writing as a part of my blog there. But let me kind of switch over here into my. So one of the things that like I just said, I've been moving forward with just this campaign in its essence, that I want to engage, I want to communicate. We have a lot of different things that are coming up. And what I hope over the next couple of months is that I have an opportunity in days. I mean, we're literally, I think, less than 170 days to Election Day, is to continue to put forth a robust, progressive platform of ideas and engaging with the community. I know that there are 4 people in this race. We'll know how many who are definitely in there. But I will remind you of this when it's all said and done with this campaign here, that there are some stark differences with myself and those who are also running for this particular seat. Experience matters. I'm the only individual who's been elected twice. And it's more than merely just being elected. Being effective. I will be sharing out key critical votes that I've had to take and initiatives that I've put forth, advocating for, and things that I've gotten accomplished here on the school board, and as well as throughout our city, and even the time when I was as director of the chamber. But there's also a difference in just rhetoric and actually having results, and a record. And I have a record of success in getting things done. And that's what I intend to continue to do if the citizens of Norfolk so choose to elect me and to put me in this city council. I hope that you'll take an opportunity to continue to share and to advocate and to be a part of this opportunity, and that you'll take an opportunity to consider becoming a volunteer. And again, I'm putting that up there for you, that you can take a screenshot there. You can go to the website and sign up there, and that you will that you'll become a part of the team. Again, you can find out more information from my website. You can also donate through that link there. And you can also, I want to encourage you to stay connected with me. You can go to my website. You can find me on Instagram, and as well as Facebook, and as well as you can go to Twitter, or X now, formerly Twitter, and have an opportunity to engage with me. I really want to say thank you for spending a little time with me here today. This is one of many. Again, I'll begin to have guests on here. This is just one of the things trying to see on the timeline, making sure we got out there to engage. I hope those, if you weren't with me live, that you had an opportunity to engage and had an opportunity to look and be able to share information and send it back to me. But look, I definitely look forward to engaging with you all moving forward, and really having a great time campaigning and meeting you in your communities. I'm open to having, if you want to host a meeting or just want me to come to your civic league, I'm there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the candidate forums that we're going to have in the fall, so that you can really see that there's a difference. There may be individuals who may imitate platform items and whatever else, but the key at the end of the day is what individual who has actually been able to get things done, and who has a proven record of results in getting things done. Again, I don't have a magic wand. I can't do everything overnight, but over the last 6 years, I've been committed to getting things done for the citizens of Norfolk and for our students and our teachers in Norfolk Public Schools. And I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to take the lead in supporting and working, supporting our mayor and working with the members of council to do what's in the best interest for the citizens of Norfolk. So with that, everybody, look, have a great evening. And for those who were with me, appreciate you. And for those who are watching this later, thank you again. This will also be posted on my website. Get a chance to go back and check it out, and you can see it on Instagram and well as Twitter. Everybody, enjoy your night. Bye-bye.